Hello, everybody, and welcome to what is the second installment of Pitstop Fracas. I hope you're keeping well, especially as we edge closer and closer to the start of the F1 season. Today, we're going to be going through the car launches that have happened this week. And further to that, we'll be looking through the top 3 drivers and tracks of 2020. Today, quite proud to say, I'm joined by Ads, Mahad, Kwame, and Richard. How you guys doing? Let me come to you first, Ads. How you keeping, mate?
Yeah. Been doing well. Watching all of the reveals this week. Some good, some bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a bit. The excitement is growing for the new F1 season with these new car reveals. So again, happy for that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there was. Yeah, we'll touch on the car reveals, but yeah, there was some standouts there. There was a couple which were like, pretty much the same, not changed much. But yeah, we'll definitely get into that. Mahad, how you doing?
I'm all good, brother. Thanks for having me on again. Just building up to the season. We're nearly there. Football's killing all of us, so we need the F1 season back in right now.
Yeah, it's just around the corner. It's only 3 weeks away. It'll be next to no time. We'll be there.
It's around the corner. Soon come.
Yeah. Richard, first time appearance. How you keeping?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. I've already got, Liverpool trying to send me into a deep depression, but, all of the car libraries and looking forward to F1 testing for next week, and I've kind of lifted my mood a bit. And I can't wait for Bahrain in a couple of weeks, really. So, yeah, looking forward to it, really.
Yeah, good stuff. That's what we like to hear. And last but not least, Kwame, how you doing?
I've been good, brother. I've been good. Just watching these, car liveries being revealed. Some of them been looking pretty nice, but some of them, Red Bull looking at you, you're just a repeat it the same as last year. But all the least they've all been good. So yeah.
Yeah, just a name change there, wasn't it, for Red Bull? But anyway, look, as mentioned at the top of the show, we had launches this week especially, we had launches from Mercedes, Alpine, Aston Martin, Haas, and Williams. Yeah, that's quite a few. Obviously, on the Twitter account, we try to keep you up to date as much as possible with our early impressions, sort of, of the cars for the 2021 season. It was just too much F1 content this week. It was just too much. So obviously, we had to put a poll out on the account to sort of determine the best one. So yeah. And if you haven't already, please make sure you follow the handle at Pitstop Fracas. Get involved, join the community. There's always laugh, there's always jokes, but there's always good insight from you guys on there. So yeah, make sure you keep following the account. But I suppose the key standouts from that poll that we put out was, these the key one. Obviously, that drew a lot of attention and people like that, and Aston Martin. So yeah, we'll definitely touch on that. So the Mercedes car that was revealed was the W12E Performance, not forgetting the AMG logos, which were sort of plastered everywhere. Let me come to you first on this, Richard. What was your initial thoughts on the car?
I was kind of disappointed, I can't lie. After delivery of last season, that I really, really enjoyed, I thought they maybe just follow up pretty similarly, but obviously they didn't. They wanted to. Obviously, there was an article I read the other day saying that they wanted to slap on more AMG prominence all over the car. So I didn't think it'll be this over the top, really. With the AMG logos all over the back of the car, the way it was laid out, I just thought it was a bit vulgar, really. Just a bit ugly, to be honest. I much prefer, the 3 pointed stars on the back of last season's car.
Yeah.
So it's like since it's been launched up until now, it's kind of grew on me a bit, but I just feel it's just a bit over the top, really, in all honesty. And it's not the worst livery on the grid, but I feel like if it wasn't that AMG prominence, it probably would have been, in my opinion, the best livery on the grid for 2 years running, but unfortunately not, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from on that. I mean, Mahad, all these AMG logos. I mean, how do you feel about that? You think it's too over the top? And tell me about this. I don't know, this splash of grey just at the back of the car. I mean, what's your take on that?
To be fair, I don't know what they're trying to do with the AMG print. It's marketing. It worked. It made me start going Auto Trader looking for AMGs. So it worked that way. But it was trying to. I don't know. It just didn't look. It didn't look right. It looked like some like rubbish Supreme hoodie or something. Like poor design. But I think last season that was one of their best cars yet. And even the season before that, that's one of their best designs. It's a classic. I think they're gonna maybe pivot back to the grey next season. I think they'll just it's a bit of a hint they're going back to silver. We're not doing this black car thing anymore. But I just don't think it went well together. But obviously, it'll end up being the fastest car in the grid anyway if we check on tested, probably. But in terms of look, it's not good. It doesn't look good, and I don't even like the red. I know. What is it? Is it? What's the name of the company again? Ineos.
Ineos, yeah.
I know they like own 1/3 of the team, but it's a bit too prominent as well. You have to keep it one color scheme or two color schemes max. But obviously, these cars are marketing tools. They're gonna try to get whatever they need to get out of it in terms of branding, and then they wanted, like Richard just said, if they want to push this AMG brand, they're gonna make you know about AMG, and that's what that car did.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, these cars are just a marketing tool out there, and yeah, they just I just think on the AMG logo, I just think it was an overkill, to be honest. Like, I just found that it was just too much. But look, it is what it is. You got to respect them, because more than likely it will probably be the championship winning car next year. So yeah, fair play to Mercedes. I mean, I just touched on it about 10 seconds ago about it being, the championship winning car. I mean, in terms of its actual performance, Kwame, let me come to you on this regarding the performance. James Allison in the sort of reveal said, this is quoted from him: "We have spent our tokens, but we won't reveal how we use them just yet. That will become clear in good time." So based on that, he's sort of, hiding behind, the fence, being like, "Oh yeah, I'm not really going to tell you guys what we've used it on." I mean, did you see anything up with the car last year? Did you see any room for improvement? Do you think they have improved the car? And if so, what sort of car do you reckon they'll have this year?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, James Allison's been very, very secretive, about the tokens. They're trying to keep that lead. They don't want, Red Bull and Aston Martin to catch up with them. For what I'm seeing with the car, looking at the reveals, comparing the two cars, there's been some bumps on the where the engine covers. So it looks like they may have done some upgrades to the engine, making the car that slightly more powerful, even though we all know that engine is the most powerful engine in the grid. So that's where my prediction is, where they probably spend the tokens. But we'll see in the testing with Bahrain. We'll see on the first track, and with improvements they need to do. They don't need to do any improvements, I don't think. I mean, look at last year when Aston Martin used what will always be the 2019 Mercedes, basically. They were basically the third best car in the grid. So if you use that, with this year, with Hamilton on the car as well, they'll probably be the second, first best. So they don't need to do any changes. But yeah, I think my prediction is probably the engine, from what I've seen.
Fair enough, yeah. Well, yeah, we'll see if it's the dominant car, and as ever. I just saw a quote earlier as well from Toto Wolff. I think they won 7 in a row now. They won 7 in a row, and he's saying, well, number 8 in a row is never guaranteed for us, and everyone starts on 0 points. So they're just playing the traditional sporting games. I think these guys watch too much football, man. They're just playing the traditional sporting games and being like, it's a reset. Everyone starts from 0.
The typical post-match conference,
Exactly.
We're just playing for the next game. That's what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
On their Guardiola thing, even though that didn't work today, you know what I mean? But usually it works. So.
Exactly,
I'm very surprised.
Exactly.
I'm very surprised Mercedes used all their tokens.
I mean, may as well. You've got 3 tokens, so 3 tokens. You may as well use it.
Yeah, I know, but I thought they would maybe like tweak it over the season rather than using it all at once. I don't know if that's the rules that you have to use it all now, but because their car is far above everybody else's.
Yeah, maybe that's where they're hiding it. They think they've got they probably think they've got something that's gonna, set them ahead of the competition so much, and they've seen so much good results in it that they think, yeah, we're going to use all our tokens for it, and we're going to hide it as well, because we think this is going to be something really serious. But yeah, it's all speculation at this point.
Yeah, I've got to say my point as well. Like with the AMG as well, like I think one reason why they could have done the AMG was to divide attention of the car. If they put the improvements at the back of the car or the engine or like this back suspension or back of the car that other teams have done, then if they cover with AMG, that will kind of distract other people. Think, oh, let's talk about AMG. Let's not talk about the changes to the car. So that's one reason why they could have done that as well.
Crafty, Sly. Talking about Crafty and Sly, James Bond made an appearance this week from a team that's also piggybacking off Mercedes engine, and that's Aston Martin. I think there's their first car in over 60 years that they've revealed. Yeah, and as I touched on it, they had James Bond and Daniel Craig, obviously James Bond for those of you that don't know, and Tom Brady from the NFL superstar. What did you guys think of the Aston Martin sort of promo and the sort of show it brought to F1 this week? Kind of an open question. Let me come to you.
Lawrence blew the bag. Lawrence blew the bag, man.
Yeah, he went in.
He's all in. He's all in. This is the definition of all in. Him and that partnership with Aston Martin now. Aston Martin's not been around for 60 years. They did everything well. From the launch video, from the actual car livery itself, they did everything to perfection. They know what they're doing, and they're spending money, and they're showing that they're spending money.
Yeah.
And honestly, I don't know where all these Aston Martin fans came from, because your team ain't been around for 60 years, so that's a bit mad. But listen, they've already gained in the fan base already. So and they've got the Mercedes unit. Let's hope that everything else is in place as well for the team to prosper next season, because they might be dangerous.
Yeah, I think they've positioned themselves perfectly. Getting these NFL superstars, getting Daniel Craig, and getting
they got
Vettel.
Santan as well.
They got Santan as well. Yeah,
they got Santan Dave as
so
well.
they've positioned themselves perfectly. But then on the flip side, the color of the car is this British racing green. So Gammon Twitter, the old Jaguar car, the Caterham lot, they're going to be all over it as well. It's like this Lawrence Stroll, man, even his marketing team, position this car perfectly. In terms of the color itself, let me come to you on this, Richard. How do you find that color?
Do you know what? Yeah, I actually liked it at first, yeah, and then I found out it wasn't actually British. Not to sound all like Brexit and 2 pints of lager and Stella Twitter and all that shit, yeah. But I found out it weren't actually British racing green. It was more like a metallic sort of color, and not really the common green that they usually put on the Aston Martins. With Aston Martin racing, with the Valkyries and whatnot. So once I found out that, and then the pink tints, obviously because of BWT instead of this typical lime green that they have, I was kind of disappointed in a way, but I still sort of liked it. Like I thought it'd be better than what they were going to show us, but it's still decent, but not as nice as what I thought it was going to be or what it could be. But yeah, Gavin Twitter love it, all the Vettel fans love it. Have a jolly up, pour Stella on each other, all that shit. Yeah, so they'll have a ball in it, so it's calm.
Silverstone's
what I want to say?
Silverstone's going to be a shit show.
It is as well. It actually is, especially if they let fans in full capacity as well. It's going to be an absolute shit show. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You know what I want to say? I just want to say one thing, yeah. Since we're talking about Vettel, I just want to say I don't think he took off a hat. Not one time throughout that whole thing.
Nope.
I'm not trying to hit on my boy or nothing, yeah. I think Vettel was a proper good driver, but listen, yeah. Take off that hat, bro.
He's onto the memes.
You've already seen it,
He's onto the memes. No. I'm not with this. I'm not with all this. He's onto the memes, even though he's not on Twitter. He's got like an assistant or something. He watches Twitter. They're clamoring for your hair. Honestly, they are hammering you to death.
I think it was JL put a comment in the Discord chat, and yeah, guys, if you haven't signed up to it, please sign up to it. All the links are in the Twitter profile. I think it was JL. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today. But yeah, big shout out to him. Yeah, I think he put a comment saying Vettel's not taking off this hat at the promo for shit. There is no way he's taking off that hat. And I saw that and I was just like, I was in hysterics, man. That was too funny, man.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets interviewed after F1 races and he won't take his helmet off.
Take an interview with his helmet on.
He's taking the helmet off and he unzips his racing suit. He's got a cap right inside of it. He just switches on straight away. As soon as the race is done.
He's got a do-rag underneath the cap.
I said do-rag.
What Aston Martin do-rag, yeah?
Hey, listen, Lawrence dripping hard at him, man. I told you, man. Balling up.
He's
not got money in COVID times when nobody's got money. It's going to be serious.
Listen, yeah, Lawrence is a proper businessman.
You know what? On that point, yeah, Lawrence. There was a quote that he said, this week as well, which I just thought this guy's just chatting a lot of shit. Yeah, he goes, my first dream was to own a Formula One team. My second dream was to acquire a significant shareholding in Aston Martin Lagonda. Today is about merging those two dreams that I have. So as I say, today is all about dreams, and it shows that dreams really can come true. And we have that in the shape of our AMR 21. I mean, I just saw that quote and I was like, come on, man. You're just marketing to the nth degree here, man. You don't really need to keep going on about that. Well, look, fair play to him, though. I mean, he blew the bag and you got us talking about it. You know what? I completely forgot he had Santan on there as well. Like, massive credit to him for that. But look, aside from the car reveal and the jokes we had on this, again, coming back to performance, so they've taken a lot of the rear end from last year's dominant Mercedes, including its gearbox and rear suspension. So that's what I've found and read online. So don't quote me on that. But based on that, again, I'm going to come back to you on this, Kwame. How do you see their performance sort of panning out over the year?
You're definitely correct with that. Because they had the 2019 Mercedes, they get a free upgrade to 2020 rear caster, suspension, rear chassis, all of that. So they get a free upgrade, and then they've also apparently, I'm not sure how true this is, but they've had spent tokens as well on the Survivor cell, so that's like the mid chassis as well. So they've definitely upgraded that car. So they're kind of straying away from that pink Mercedes kind of B Mercedes thing, but it's still really P Mercedes, like we all know. But I think they'll do all the season. I think, silly enough, like with Vettel driving style being quite similar to Lewis in that it was kind of like a stable back end, not a twitchy one like a Leclerc or a Max, for example. That car is more suited to Vettel than the Ferrari was. So we maybe could see Vettel back in his Red Bull form, early Ferrari form, maybe with this car. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, I think they'll have a good season this year. They're progressing and making all the right steps they did from last year. So I think we'll probably see them around the top end of that midfield. Probably.
Yeah, I'm here for it. As long as teams are getting closer to the front end of the grid, I'm here for it. And if Vettel's doing well, man, we all want to see that. So another team as well that was revealed this week. We might not be eagerly anticipating one of their drivers on the grid, but Haas revealed theirs, and they're going to be having a red, white, and blue color theme to sort of represent the Russian flag, because they have a new sponsor that is called Ural Kali, which is apparently a Russian
Putin
fertilizer.
Wrong,
Sorry?
You pronounce Putin wrong, man.
I might as well cut to the chase. I might as well cut to the chase, yeah. But yeah, apparently this Putin's company is a Russian fertilizer produced. It's apparently a Russian fertilizer producer, and it's closely connected to Mazepin's father, Dmitry. So he's got a close connection to that company. And this company's logos have appeared on Mazepin's car in the past. But what I find really weird about this is that this flag, has the Russian flag has a strong connection to the colors on the car, obviously red, blue and white, and it's actually like supposedly it's against the regulations to have a car that depicts the country's flag on it. But for some reason, the FIA have allowed it. So FIA have been made aware of their livery plans, and the design is considered compliant somehow. I mean,
Yeah, Putin's
money,
pockets run
obviously.
deep.
Obviously.
I mean?
So with all that in mind, I hope you understood the gist of it, Richard. But what's your take on it, mate? How'd you find the Haas's car this year and the logos and the new brand and all that?
Do you know what's funny? Yeah, I actually quite like the aesthetics of the delivery itself. I don't like obviously the stuff that it stands for and what it's behind and whatnot, but just as a livery by itself, I actually think it's quite nice. In terms of them using the colours of the Russian flag, basically, obviously, because with the WADA ruling that no athletes for the next 2 years can fly under the Russian flag, this is like a sneaky way of them basically using the same colours on the car, but not doing it in the form of a flag per se, as in there's not a rectangular box on the car with the Russian flag. I know there's that sneaky little swoop towards the back of it where the engine cover is, but I think that's one of the reasons why they managed to get away with it per se, because it's a part of the way they've designed the livery. So, in my opinion, I do think it looks quite nice to be fair, despite the controversy behind it. But the funny thing is, they can just spin it to be like, oh, it's the American colours though, but we just spun it differently.
That's what I wanted to say as well.
Or they can even say, oh, because what? Sorry.
I said, where are the stars at then?
Yeah, that's the thing. Where the stars are. So another thing is, they can also send it to say, oh, it's of the British colours because the Haas offices are based in the UK. And also, the funny thing about their sponsor is their sponsor's colours are green and red. It's not even like blue and white and red.
It don't make sense. It don't.
So
man.
They change the colours.
That's the thing. So it just tells you how much imports that the Mazepins have and control all over Haas, really, and over their own sponsors. Because the normal thing to do would just be based on the colour of the sponsors, or even have a bit of green there as well, green and red. But since it's we're all saying that's basically the Russian flag. What are they playing now?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
That's how it is.
What I wanted to say as well, I think the thing is that if we remember what Haas did with the rich energy thing, I don't think Haas really have a problem with their livery. They'll change their livery for whatever, because their livery obviously before it was more or less black and white, and then they had the logo in red. That was their regular thing. Then when Rich Energy came in, the whole thing was dark grey, and they had little gold accents, and it was completely different. Obviously, we all know what happened to Rich Energy, and then you look at the car now, and I mean it looks a bit similar, but you can definitely tell that there's been a lot of input into the way that is supposed to look. So I think my point really is that I don't think Gene Haas really cares. He'll take whatever money he'll take, he'll just do it, and he'll be like, oh yeah, you want to change my car? Yeah, go ahead. No problem. Do it.
It's no surprise because it's not even a secret that Gene Haas wants to sell the team. And I feel like this car is like an admission that, okay, I'm looking for a Russian buyer. Look, I've even made it the color for you guys. Please buy this team off me because I need to get rid of it.
I don't know if F1 wants a Russian buyer. Maybe they want another one, but not Russian. You know what I mean?
Gene Haas just trying to get rid of it. If it's a Russian that's got an Israeli passport, you don't care. Just get somebody that needs to buy this team because listen. The car is controversial livery. They've got a controversial driver. They've got 2 rookie drivers, and I think Gunter Steiner said the other day they're operating on 10% of their budget from last year, so they're gonna be slow as hell. The car, they might be worse than Williams this season.
They've already said that they're not gonna. Yeah. Yes. Sorry. Yeah, they've already said that they're not gonna concentrate on this season anyway. They're just gonna concentrate on 2022. They haven't really upgraded anything. They've just sort of admitted defeat to say, look, we're probably going to finish last. We've got 2 rookies in. You've got a crackhead of a team principal, and we're draped in Russian colours. So they've already given up before they started, so it wouldn't surprise me at all if they finish bottom.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. They're definitely not going to be up the front. They're definitely going to be around the back, and yeah, let's just hope Mazepin don't run off Hamilton. I know I said it already. I just hope he doesn't take anyone off when he's sort of a back marker and the guys at the front are overtaking him. I suppose the final one that I want to touch on, which I personally really liked, was the Alpine Car Reveal. It's the A521. Obviously, it's going to contest the 2021 season. I really like the shade of blue, and I think Fernando Alonso might like it as well. It's a sort of color that that he won his 2 world titles with Renault. Bit of nostalgia there. Personally, I think that was the best looking car. I really like that shade of blue. I like the way it just the way it like fits in with whole Renault French team. Now it's Alpine. It'll be sort of interesting to see. What's your take on it, Mahad?
I really like it. That was the car I would have said is the best looking car. I didn't know about this rule about having flags, because that is the French flag, that car. That's the Frenchest car I've ever seen. So there's no hiding of it. But the way it looks, how sleek it looks, the design, I think they did really, really well. Hopefully it's as fast as it looks. And Alonso and Ocon can get the most out of that car. The launch, I don't know what was going on, because when I was watching it, it was just lagging. Hopefully the car don't lag, because that was one of the most awful launches I've ever seen. They should have just posted up the picture, because I don't know what was going on. I thought something was wrong with my internet. It wasn't. Everybody was complaining about it. So maybe some disaster with the IT department. But apart from that, I think it was the best looking car so far on the reveals. And it's quite unique. It's completely different to last year's one. And that's the kind of things that I like to see, something that's completely different to last year rather than something that's quite similar, like how McLaren and Red Bull phoned it in, like always. Yeah. But this is nice. This is nice. I love it.
Yeah, I just want to touch finally on that. Ads, let me come to you on this. I mean, the fact that they've changed it from the yellow and black design now to this really striking shade of blue. So how do you feel about the team doing that from last year? Do you reckon they should sort of fit in and kind of slowly change it? Well, this is like a complete change. I know they've rebranded the whole team, but it would be good to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, when I first heard about Renault rebranding into Alpine, I was a bit hesitant about the colors, because the Renault yellow, while it wasn't the best on the grid, I thought it was really striking, and it was a whole lot different to all the other colors that were on the grid. Usually it was just like a blue, or like a black, or a blue, something like that. So I was a bit apprehensive, especially when they said we're going to rebrand to Alpine and our colors are going to be blue. Our main color is going to be blue. But what they've done with it, they've done something really, really good with it. I think the fact that they made the main color of the car like this really striking metallic blue, I think that was really, really good of them. And then they made kind of like the white and the red more of the accents of the car. Yep. Also, I think the thing with the French flag thing, I think that's also something to discuss, because I think it's as much of a French car as the Haas one is a Russian car, like especially if you look at the size of the wing and stuff like that. But I think we'll have to wait and see. But it might probably just be like a non-issue kind of thing, and everyone will just say whatever, we'll just ride with it. But I think the car is really, really good. I think it's really striking. It's really beautiful. I think in terms of performance aspects, it will all pan out. I think over the next coming weeks when we get the sort of feedback from testing. I know that's not always a good barometer, but it'll be interesting to see how that sort of shapes up, and then we can see who might do well next year, who might not do well, if there's might be any surprise packages, etc., etc. But I think that's it on the car reveals. Let's just sort of cast our minds back now to our top 3 drivers. Can I just say one thing though?
Yeah.
Can I just say one thing? I just want to give a last place prize to Williams for revealing that F1 2020 generic career mode livery. I don't know what they were doing there. They just put a bunch of random shapes together and just put it on the car. But yeah, I mean, if it works, it works. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, I think that only got did that even go up on the poll? I think that only got a couple of votes on the poll.
It got a couple of votes. Haas didn't get no votes. So
Yeah.
They get no.
Not gonna lie, the house one looks better. At least the house one looks better. You know what I mean? Even if it is just like
Russia,
yeah,
the Russian flag.
I like the color scheme of it, but the design is poorly made on the Williams.
Yeah.
They tried to do like a throwback to the early =90s, late =80s type of Williams, but it didn't really work out.
It just looks like a bus. This looks like the fabric on a bus.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, let's get into the the meat and bones of the pod in terms of our top 3 drivers. So we done a poll a few weeks ago again on the Twitter account to determine what your guys' favorite driver and track was from 2020. You know, it was a great season 2020, definitely one that I'll remember for a long time. So I gave my co-hosts a bit of homework to do and to let me know who their top 3 drivers and tracks were over the season. So now I hope we can tackle this in an amicable way. But I got everyone's votes. There was a couple of wild shouts in there. But what we're going to do is we're probably going to apply like a Olympic score into it. And obviously, person who got P1, top spot would have got 3 points, second place 2 points, and third place 1 point. And then sort of just have a discussion around each. So top 3 drivers, number 1 was pretty self-explanatory that we'll get into. Number 2 was definitely an honourable mention, and it can definitely be argued for them having a fantastic season. But I think we should try and determine number 3 because there was a lot of votes for number 3. It was a tie between Pierre Gasly, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, and Max Verstappen. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to come to each of you, and I kind of want you just to give me your thoughts on why that driver should be considered sort of a third spot in your view from 2020. So, Richard, I'm going to come to you for Gasly. Ads, I'm going to come to you on Ricciardo, Mahad, you Leclerc, and Max Verstappen, Kwame. So, Kwame, let me come to you then. What was your take on Max Verstappen from 2020? How did he do, and why should he be in the top 3 or number 3?
Listen, I think he's the second best driver in the grid personally. He came third overall in the season. Every race he finished in, except for one, he got a podium, which kind of shows, his levels. Even Hamilton didn't even get that much percentage of podiums that he finished in. Issue with Max is his reliability of the car, and also at times he can be very rash, which we spoke about last week. But yeah, if he finished them races that he had, he'd have been ahead of us. So that's why I put Max there. I feel like can't be the second best driver in the grid. Even though it's got the second best car, he definitely challenged Hamilton at times. Stuff like the 70th anniversary Grand Prix, he outsmarted the Mercedes team with the Pitstop strategy on the tires. So yeah, and with Abu Dhabi, he won. The last other race he won, he just kept it home comfy. So it shows he can do both. He can have the safe race and just take it home for pole position, or he can also do the outsmarting thing and try to outwit guys. But there's also been racing there, where he just crashes a man, spins first race, but he recovers and learns, and he gets them 1, 2, 3, which is what's needed. Yeah, Max.
Yeah. So I'm guessing rest of you guys are all right with that, yeah? Richard, you cool with that, yeah? We'll just take Max as number 3. You don't want to argue anything for Gasly then?
No, I was actually going to put Checo for number 3, to be honest with you, but for the sake of the pod, I'll go Max number 3. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. No reason as to why Gasly should be number 3 or anywhere else.
Well, I said he should be higher, but I'll get to that later.
Okay.
All right.
The thing is,
Go for it,
the thing
Mahad.
is with that, yeah. If we talk about the microcosm of just 2020, I don't think Max did as well as he should have done. I think Max is the second best driver on the grid. That's facts for me. That's without question. But in relation to other drivers and how they outperform their cars, I think he's like fourth. I think with me, when I said Leclerc outperformed his car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
When I mean
think
Leclerc outperformed his car, like Max is expected to be up there because he's got the Red Bull and he's in that car. If you get what I'm saying, he's got the second fastest car on the grid. He's supposed to be in the top 3 drivers. He should be beating Bottas. Obviously, he had some reliability issues, like Kwame stated, with the 5 DNFs and so on. But he should be challenging Hamilton more in those races, even though Hamilton is like the greatest driver of all time. He should have closed that gap. He could have performed a little bit more.
So why should
in
Leclerc
last
be
season, in my eyes anyway, to the standard that he set previously?
So you would put Leclerc ahead of him
comparing
then?
it to other drivers as well. In terms of Leclerc outperformed that car. He had no right even anywhere near top 3, top 4 finishes, top 5 finishes. He had out of the 17 races, he got top 10 finishes, and out of that 5 top 5 finishes, he did what he needed to do, and he outperformed that car. Because if he was in a better car, if he was in Ferrari of old, he would have got more poles. He would have got more race wins and so on. So I feel like he outperformed the car that he was in, and that's what I'm looking at. I don't think Max outperformed the car he was in.
But can you not say the same for Danny Rick?
You can.
Didn't Danny Rick do well as well? Didn't he outperform his car?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, go ahead.
Leclerc's car's worse than Danny Rick's. The Renault was better than the Ferrari.
But
Just about.
what I would say, because I'm the one that voted for Rick to be P3, what I would say is that if we're talking about any driver that has outperformed their car while also putting good points on the board, I don't think outside of Checo, I don't think anyone's done it better than Ricciardo. I think Ricciardo, because his car, the Renault car, there's the Mercedes, the Red Bull, and then the Aston Martin, or before it was the Racing Point, and McLaren that are better than Renault, that had better cars than Renault, and he managed to get P4, and he was finishing. If I tell you his standings, he got 2 podiums, he got 3 P4s, and he got 2 P5s. So if you think about that, given the fact that P1 and P2 are more or less stapled down by Hamilton and then one of the either Bottas or Max, yeah, getting P3 and P4 and P5 consistently throughout the season in a Renault, I think that's really, really good. I think that's probably one of the best achievements that could have been done by one of the midfield drivers. Plus, given the fact that he put in some really, really good drives, especially the ones that were in the podiums. What's it called? I think, what was it? Imola? It was no, it wasn't Imola.
No, Nürburgring.
The Nürburgring. Yeah, sorry, it was that race. Yeah, it was. It was the Nürburgring one. Yeah, that was the one that comes to mind usually, because I think that was a really, really, really good drive from him. And given that, even though, look, people know me, I'm the CEO of Gasly Hive. Like, I rep my boy. So it really hurt me to put Ricciardo third, but you know what I mean. But I think just looking at it, and I had to keep a level head, and just looking at it, I think Ricciardo was the one that performed for me.
I mean, you know what? You stated a really good case there. Honestly, when you consider where that car was and what he managed to achieve, that is pretty good.
And he only had and he only had barring the retirement that he had in the first race in Austria, he only finished out the points twice.
Very good.
Like, of all the drivers that came below him, I mean, Sainz, he finished out the points twice. He had 2 retirements, and he had a DNS as well. Leclerc, he finished out even though he was in the Ferrari, which was really bad, he finished out the points 3 times. Norris finished out the points 3 times. Gasly finished out the points 4 times. Of all those kind of midfield cars, to only finish out the points twice and then get high points relative to your car and relative to the standings, I think I see Ricciardo as that guy. Like he was that one. He was probably one of the best performing drivers of the midfield alongside Checo. Well, not alongside him, but with Checo.
I think that's it. I don't think we're literally on Ricciardo based on that.
Can I argue my point for Checo?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, so you see with Checo, the reason why I put him preferred is because this has been his best ever season within Formula One. If you think about how he was when he first came to Formula One, there was a lot of hype around him when he was at Sauber, and he did really, really well there. And of course, he got that move to McLaren, and then it's sort of like his reputation plummeted. So with him having to go to Force India, he's done to do a lot of work and proving he's one of the top drivers in the midfield battle. And this season, I think he's really done it because he's been given a really good car as well. And he's managed to finish 4th in the standings. And also with his record as well, he managed to finish in the points 11 times. Out of those 11 times, he finished in the top 7 9 times. He also managed to get 2 podiums, obviously his first ever win in Sakir. And also he's more or less proved that outside of the top 3, he's been the best driver on the grid, basically. Like, he's been best at the midfield. So I feel that with the machinery that he's been given and the way he's performed with it, you could say in some aspects he's outperformed it in some ways, especially with the downturn of Ferrari. So I feel that with that as well, because I feel like the thing with him and Ricciardo is, yes, of course, Ricciardo got 2 podiums winning 3 races, but Checo also got 2 podiums, one with a race win. I need to bear in mind with that race win, he came from last. He came from stone dead last, and he was carving through the field like he was in a black Mercedes, never mind a pink Mercedes. So I think that he's more or less proved his worth and proved why he's got that move to Red Bull, really. So that's why I feel like Checo should be third.
All right. That's a fair case. You know, I mean, that's a Sakir Grand Prix. The way he was carving through the grid, that is next to none. He had a roller coaster season as well. He put in some standout performances. Also had some difficult moments as well. Obviously, getting COVID, understanding that he may not have a drive next year. But we got to decide on a number 3. So I'm going to go around the room and get your take, and we'll take the majority vote for our third, number 3 in terms of their top driver for 2020. Let me come to you first, Kwame. Who are you picking then?
I got convinced. I already had Danny Rick as third, anyways. Max was second. Yeah. Danny Rick was third. So yeah, I'm a big as play, but he convinced me. So I'm going with Danny Rick. Yeah, third.
One for Danny Rick. Mahad.
I'm gonna reluctantly say Danny Rick, but Leclerc's getting underrated, man. This is mad. He went out in Q2 about 6 times and he still got points.
Yeah, no, you got to respect.
Ricciardo was getting in the top 10 the whole time. The guy was driving a bloody bus.
Yeah,
and he was getting P4s.
Yeah,
but anyways, I'll say Ricciardo.
Richard.
I can't like his name with Checo, man. Fuck it.
You're underrating Checo, man. Checo's higher than that, brother.
I had that still, but yeah.
Hold on, I just saw we had Hamilton P1 and we had who was P2?
Checo P2.
Yeah, Checo P2. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Richard, why is he third, brother?
We'll find out.
Got in front of him, brother. You'll see, I know. You'll know what I mean.
We'll see. And then I'm guessing, obviously, Ad, you're gonna go with Ricciardo, yeah?
Nah, I'm going with Gasly. I'll go with Gasly. You know what I mean? Yeah.
All right, so that's locked in. That's locked in. Ricardo number 3. That's locked in. Ricardo number 3. Yeah. Great season from him, man. Great season. We like what he's done. Obviously next year, McLaren. Yeah, kick on. Give us some on track action. You know, he does so much off it that excites me as well. You know, with the shoey. You know, he's always funny in interviews.
That's
I
not
just love
exciting,
watching
man.
him. Yeah, okay. That's not exciting.
And yo, Lewis has got a red card for drinking out of that still.
Yeah.
No, I remember who was on the thing. Was it Martin Brundle a couple of years ago? He was like, "No."
Yo, there's been too many people that have tried that, man. I'm giving side eyes to a lot of these people in the in F1 right now.
Sweaty boot, nuts.
Yeah, they're crazy, man. They're crazy, but yeah, fair enough, Danny Rick. Yeah, you got number 3 from Pitstop Fracas. Number 2, suppose we could debate it a bit. It was Sergio Perez. He did get a lot of the votes. You know, as I said last year, I think he's had a really roller coaster season. Mahad, let me come to you on this. What was your take on his season from 2020, Perez?
He just showed what he's about. He showed that, look, I'm a seasoned veteran and I know what I'm doing. And he was racing. Like the amount of times that I was watching races where something happens and he's all the way at the back of the grid and then somehow he's at the top of the grid again. It's amazing. So yeah, I know Richard mentioned Sakia. He even did it in Portugal. Portugal, he went spinning, and then he came back. Same as Turkey as well. It's just no, Turkey was already gone, but he's got the ability to just grind through places, keep his tires going, overtake, get to the positions that he needs to get to, time it well, time his pit stops well. He's not in a team. He wasn't in a team that had like the best strategy in the world, but he overperformed his strategy time and time again. And he like Richard said, he had COVID. He missed races. He had DNFs because his car just broke down, and he was in a good position, and his car just broke down for some reason. He could have easily got way more points than he had. He could have finished maybe 3rd in the championship. He deserves his move to Red Bull. And in terms of what I was speaking about before, in terms of performance and overperforming your car, he was outperforming that car. Even though that car is a very good car, it's a pink Mercedes, he was outperforming that car, because if you compare it to Stroll, he made Stroll look like a small man. It made his teammate look like a small man. So there's one little thing that he's got a flaw in. He's got a flaw in qualifying, but he makes up for it in racing anyway. So it's not too much of a flaw, because he makes up them places that he loses on qualifying anyway.
Yeah, I think, for me, I think he became a bit of a cult hero over the season. I always respected him as a driver. I thought he's a good guy. He's a good guy from a good home. I like Perez, but I just think as the season went on, I was taking a liking to him. I was seeing more of the way he was applying himself, especially in races. Obviously, he's always been able to extend those tires, but for me, the way he performed in Sakir was just absolutely amazing. Fair enough, you can also put it down to whatever happened with Mercedes' strategy, etc. But he took that opportunity and he grabbed it by the scruff of the neck and he delivered what was one of the better races in 2020. So I know all of you guys agree that Perez is number 2, but Richard, I want to come to you on this now. And I want to call you out. You said number 2 should be Hamilton. Now, why should number 2 be Hamilton?
Look, with that top 3, with my top 3, you can remix it anyhow you want to. Like, honestly, I just thought in it, just for the sake of vibes, in it, because he's star boys. Yeah, spoiler alert. I got to see number 1. I just thought. Yep. With Lewis Sher, he's...
Yep, it was him.
Yep.
Hey, Richard, change the picture, please.
Me and Anik swapping.
Let Richard speak.
Now, see the thing with Lewis Sher, like, we know how good he is. Like, he's proven himself over the last 13, 14 seasons. Like, even in the last 3 seasons alone, he's got 11 wins each. Like, that's just bonkers, really. But despite that, I just feel that even though he obviously performed his car to the level of what it's capable of, it wasn't anything new. So, for example, if let's say he won every single race that he started in, then I'd be like, yeah, he has to be number one. That's fine. But I feel that with what we know his quality is and the quality of that car, he more or less did what we expected him of. He didn't do anything to say, do you know what? Yeah, he should definitely be number one. Of course, he had where he won at Silverstone with the tyre issue. Obviously, that was amazing. His win in Turkey, that was amazing, yes. But we've seen this with Lewis throughout the last 18 years. This is not on that says, wow, I didn't see that coming. This is a measure of his quality. When he does these things that shock you, they don't really shock you unless you're new to Formula One. This is something that we expect him to do all the time. So I just feel that with Gasly, going to what Mahad said before, measuring the performance of the car with the driver, I just feel that with Gasly, he outperformed his car more compared to everyone else on the grid. Really, because I can even read off why how well Gasly did. Like, that car should not be finishing in the points or getting into Q3, even with the adjusting performance measures with how bad Ferrari was, how bad West Bromwich Albon was, stuff like that. That AlphaTauri should not have been getting into the points or Q3 at all. Like, with Gasly, he managed to finish 10th in the standings, which I know doesn't sound spectacular, but obviously eye test, and so on and so on. He managed to finish in the points 10 times out of 14 races that he finished in, and also got to Q3 11 times out of 17 races, and even qualified as high as 4th in Imola. That, for me, is an amazing season, especially in the machinery that he's in. He's in Red Bull's sister car, not in the main car.
Yeah.
That, for me, in my eyes, is an amazing season. And I just feel, obviously, because we're all big Pierre Gasly fans and whatnot, I just feel that it would have been best to show him, let's say, the love and respect and whatever that he deserves. But as I said, with my top 3, you can remix it however you want. I just felt that, Gasly just shone that little bit more. That's all.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, we love Gasly at Pitstop. We love him. And you have to also respect what he'd done. He gave us some key moments as well, and some great moments in terms of race wins, and we'll come on to that in a few moments. But in terms of number 2, I think we've got to go with a majority here. So yeah, I'm going to go around the room again. Let's lock those votes in and let's pick number 2. Kwame, let me come to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna just keep it Perez and let's keep Perez second. I'm not gonna explain myself here, but yeah, I didn't wish having my top 3, had him just before going 4th, but listen, I've got no obstructions about him being second. He had a top season this year, so
nice.
Second. So.
Richard, any movement, any change, or are you still sticking with Hamilton?
Yeah, I'm gonna still stick with it, man. I'm gonna still stick with it.
Fair enough.
For sake of context, why not?
Yeah, but you've applied the context to it, and Hamilton. Let's not make any mistake about it. He is an amazing driver, and I think because he's performing so good and giving us such great moments, we're just used to it. But when you step back and look at it, he's doing absolutely amazing every season. So yeah,
I think we can take him for granted in some ways as well, really, especially in relative to his age. But yeah.
Fair enough. Mahad, still Perez?
First of all, I just want to apologise to Lewis Hamilton if he's watching this for Richard's behaviour by putting him second. Until Lewis Hamilton leaves, he is number 1, and that is the start.
He's number 1.
Yeah, go ahead. What was you saying, Anik?
Number 2 then. Number 2,
yeah, Perez, 100%.
Perez, yeah, and ads.
Yeah, Gasly probably number 2.
Oh man, you're still changing.
Listen, you know how it is with me. No, but I don't want to go out of this, but with Gasly not being there, you know what I mean? You're gonna ask me about P1, I'm gonna say Gasly as well. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, probably Checo. You know, the way I said it, I think he's just the way he's performed. Even though what Richard said about Gasly, like obviously I completely endorse that and agree with it. But yeah, I'm just gonna go with what I said with Perez. I think the way he's performed, even though you could arguably say he had the third best car in the grid, I think the way he's performed, he's just put in some unbelievable performances and the win, and Sakir especially. I think that's just tipped it for me. I think he's put in a P2 of performances this season, last season.
Yeah. Yeah, can't. You know,
I've got a question.
Dispute that. Go for it.
Listen, I respect Gasly. That's my guy's star boy, whatever. What the same logic that was used for Gasly was dismissed for Leclerc. I'm confused. I'm very confused.
But Gasly won a race though.
Because that Ferrari is probably the same as the AlphaTauri. Same speed. It's actually the AlphaTauri might be quicker. So
yeah, but
I'm not sure, but okay. Gasly, yeah, it's cool.
Let's move it. All right, Perez locked in number 2. Now, come on, man. Richard, man, you're my guy, man. You're a Liverpool fan as well, man. You're my guy, but there's no disputing. It's King Lewis for number 1. I mean,
I told you I've got no complaints from.
It can be in any order. It can be in any order. Yeah, we'll just say it's any order, and you know, we'll say your votes. It was Lewis number 1. We'll just say that.
Yeah, that's fine, man.
For argument's sake. Guys, talk to me about Lewis Hamilton, man. What was your favorite moment this year? Come on, man. Like, he's just something else this year. Number 7. Kwame, let me come to you, mate.
My favorite Lewis Hamilton of the season.
Yeah, just talk to me about him, man. Just tell me about Hamilton.
What can you say? I mean, I've got it here. It's a bit simple. You know, he's just a goat in sport. You know, he won the championship. You know, he dominated the field, dominated his teammate, dominated the year. You know, 11 out of 17 wins. You know, that's impressive and deep as well. All of the wins that he lost were out of mistakes through his team or him, which is, you know, shows, you know, like no one really competed outright with him on their own right, and no Thomas either as well, which just shows his experience as well. I say my favorite drive for him was Turkey. Just the cloud of the field, just the change of weather conditions and how he handled it. We've seen certain drivers, you know, like Science and, you know, show, you know, even though they're younger, bought it. Vettel just, you know, use experience, and Perez. That's why I'm just saying, use the experience and, you know, got that 1, 2, 3 in the end. So yeah, that's what I can say.
Any more on Hamilton, Mahad?
11 out of 17 domination. Thanos, he smoked everybody. There was no competition. And you can say that, he's in the Mercedes and stuff like that. I know he's got a lot of haters out there. I know them people out there on Twitter making threads saying he's too aggressive and all that. I ain't trying to hear that.
Yeah, we ain't hearing that.
This guy was cooking. That's one of his best seasons. I don't care. Yeah. That was one of his best seasons ever. He was on a madness.
And
especially after the first race, after Austria, he lost to Bottas. After that, he went on a mad win streak. He was just, from then, he kind of cemented it down, and he was like, okay, look, this is my thing. I'm getting number 7. I'm getting win number 95. And may long let it continue. Let it continue. Until he leaves, he's the best. He's like LeBron James. He's like Messi. Until he leaves, he's the best. So we're just gonna keep it calm right now. But yeah, one of his best seasons ever. Like the performance was outstanding on some of the races, like Turkey, like Kwame said, and Great Britain race when he was at Silverstone, when he's driving with 3 tires. This guy's the GOAT, man. So yeah, and we're gonna 1 year from now, we're probably gonna be having the same pod saying the same thing. Saying this is just how it is.
Yeah, Richard, put him number 1 next year. Come on.
If he breaks his win record, say nothing, he'll definitely be number 1. Joe, if he gets 10 in a row, that's it. He breaks Vettel's record, gets 10 in a row. Calm.
But you know what? He's got it there anyway. And you know, last week, I know we left it late, but Sir Lewis Hamilton, You know, I'm going to make that clear, Sir Lewis Hamilton. That just tells you everything about the guy. And based on that, man, there's no other reason to put him number one.
Gavin Smith is going crazy right now. Absolutely crazy.
Let them.
Man's talking about Nigel Mansell and Damon Hill and them.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. But yeah, cool. All right, that's our top 3 drivers wrapped up. Hamilton locked in number 1. You're our king, mate. You're our king. Right. So top 3 tracks now. Man, that was a mixed bag of top 3 tracks I got from you guys. Without getting too involved and heavily debated into conversation, again, I'm going to apply that sort of Olympic sort of strategy and pick out the races which sort of had the most votes. So really for number 3, it was a tie between the Sakir Grand Prix and the British Grand Prix. The British Grand Prix I really liked. It was really early in the season. You know, there was all the issues with the tyres and stuff. Kwame, give me your take and sort of reasons as to why the British Grand Prix should be number 3.
Yeah, so I put British number 3. I put Sakir just out number 4 on the mention list. The reason I gave the British Grand Prix was mainly because of, you know, I don't know them. Yeah, they're guys on tour, but I guess the legacy of the track, the way the track has kind of always been F1. While Sakir is kind of like a last minute, you know, very unique with the oval thing. So it's kind of hard to compare. But I love Sakir, by the way. But with British Grand Prix, yeah, there wasn't much, you know, overtaken per se. There's some good fights in midfield though. Yeah, Grosjean tried to defend his life, you know, just falling down the grid. This happens with these Ferrari engines, just not being powerful enough to push through. You had Ricciardo and the McLaren's battling out, but there was quite a lot of incidents at the beginning as well, which affected the race. I thought that was quite similar to Tuscany, even though Tuscany had more crashes incidents, but a lot of incidents that, you know, impacted the race and led to pit stops, and that's where the strategy element came into it, and the end was just amazing. If that race, the last 3 laps was the whole race, that would been top tier because the tires just fell off. You know, back to 2013 Silverstone, but the tires just fell off. You know, first it was Bottas tires bust, and then Sainz bust. But then 2 pitted. Hamilton took the risk and stayed out because he was friends with life. Verstappen, you know, got told to pin by his team. If he stayed out, it'd be tense. But you know, Hamilton's just survived on three tires, and you know, just shows, you know, the time management, how important putting tires after F1. You know, I guess it's a good race for the casual to see, you know, how strategy is important in F1. The tires, I know British, you know, Grand Prix heritage and all that. You know, so,
yeah. No, definitely. I mean, I thought that was like really similar to like the ending of a film. You know, he's just crawling at like snail pace, and Verstappen's catching him. I just see Mahad checking his phone for the past 5 minutes, probably bringing up Verstappen stats. What happened to Verstappen in that race? Why didn't he pick him off by the end of it, man?
Tell us, Mahad. Break it down.
I don't want to speak on Verstappen on that race. I just want to highlight the next race, the 70th anniversary, where he smoked everybody. So let me just highlight that there was redemption made. So we won't speak on Max on the British Grand Prix. So.
Cool. All right. Yeah. So as I said, it was a tie between. Well, not a tie. We want to have a good discussion between the British Grand Prix and Sakir. Richard, let me come to you on Sakir. You put that as well as your number 3. Any reason why?
Yeah, actually, with qualifying, it was quite interesting to see Bottas and George battling. You know, obviously, as you know, George's got this great record of always being his teammate in qualifying. So I thought with all the hype behind him and the quality of George, I thought maybe he'd probably be, you know, Mr. Saturday anyway. But he was only off by like 2/100ths of a second, which is, you know, for someone who had to wear size 10 size 10 shoes when he's a size 11. And someone, you know, he's basically a giant when it comes to like Formula 1 drivers. He's like 6'2". For someone who had to like go through that like circumstance and only be 2/10 off is pretty impressive, really. But of course, as we know, yeah, George had a great start off the line. You know, dunked on Bottas automatically, as we all knew what would happen. Checo got clipped as well. Certain man's favourite driver from Holland crashed out as well, along with Leclerc. Also,
it weren't his fault. But continue.
I watched it back.
I think it is, but you know,
I watched it back.
Unless you want to bring up scientific data to say it's not, then I'm rolling with it.
How can you avoid? You're already in the gravel pit? How are you gonna get out? Are you gonna turn right?
He wasn't in the gravel pit. He was in like the black safe pit. All that momentum he had. He thought he could just spin away from it, and then he's ended up crashing into the barrier wall. There's not that much gravel pit there.
You have to remember how fast these cars are going as well, man. He was kind of
why
like,
didn't he slow down?
look, Leclerc, that's Leclerc's fault, first of all. Leclerc was moving a bit mad. And then Leclerc kind of cornered him into that situation where he couldn't really get out. We don't know how it is to drive these cars in that type of environment.
No, that is true.
F1 drivers. We don't know what it's like behind the wheel.
That's after the G-force just took him back.
The G-force took me back when I saw that. I was like, "Whoa, is that Verstappen crashing out?" All right, okay. Let's just go around the room, and let's just do another vote on number 3. Ads, let me come to you first. Number 3, you put Turkey. That actually came a bit higher. So, based on what's been said, if you had to choose between Sakir and the British Grand Prix, which one are you choosing?
I'm choosing Sakir.
Yep.
I think Sakir purely on a entertainment factor. I think Sakir was a whole lot better than the British GP, to be honest. Mm-hmm. I think I recall because watching the British Grand Prix, and outside of the last few laps where the tire issues were actually coming into effect, there wasn't really much going on in that race. It was looking like it was regular for Mercedes. Obviously, with the ending of what happened, and then the tires, and then one of Hamilton's tires blowing out, and then he's going really, really slowly. You can see Max in the background trying to catch up to him. Obviously, that was really, really crazy. That's like a really memorable part. But I think other than that race, there wasn't really much going on in that race. Where from Sakir, even from qualifying, it was crazy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like with the battle, or let's say, or in quote marks, the battle between Bottas and George. And from turn 1, George beating Bottas into turn 1, that race going all throughout it, the fact that the track was really high speed, not many corners, the fact that they were literally whizzing around that, and then there were so many laps, so they were just like screaming through the laps. And then with, the crash, or in quote marks, the crash, it wasn't really much of a crash, but with what happened to Checo spinning out, ending up last, and then making it through that. And then what happened, I haven't even gotten into Mercedes, that whole thing with Mercedes. We were just talking about George and Russell, and then Mercedes literally messing up that race for them. My jaw was on the floor watching that race. Like, I remember we were in the Discord watching that. I was like going crazy. Like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. That race was insane. And then after all that, after messing up both of their pit stops, and then George finally gets on the right tires, and he's looking like he's going to get up into that P1 and reaching Checo, and then he has to come in again because he has a puncture. That's a ridiculous race, honestly. Like, it was heart-wrenching. It was amazing. It was fun. Like, there was so much going on in that race. Like, I would have probably rated it a bit higher, but I thought it was P3 because with Turkey, with what actually happened in Turkey, with Hamilton winning that and then winning the championship and the 7th championship, and I think he matching that record of Michael Schumacher. I think the prestige of that race, I think that's what makes it higher for me. But I think the entertainment that Sakir provided, I think it has to be in that top 3. It has to be. Definitely.
Yeah, all right. So we got Kwame locked in as British Grand Prix number 3. Richard said Sakir. Ads has said Sakir. Deciding vote on you, Mahad. If you're going to make it a tiebreaker, then I'll just choose. So what's your choice, mate?
My choice is Sakir because I had Sakir at number 2. Sakir was.
Yeah, no, he was never gonna choose the British one after what happened to Max. No way. that wasn't happening.
No, I agree.
He can't accept that Hamilton finished that race with 3 tires and Max couldn't catch him. He was never gonna figure it.
No, for real. Like, Sakir was like, you know what? I was a bit reserved. I didn't know if Sakir was going to be good when I first looked at the track. I was thinking this is looking like Baby Park in Mario Kart. I was thinking it's just a circle. There's nothing going on here. There's no like mad turns. I was thinking where's going to be the opportunity to overtake, but that race ended up being absolutely fantastic in terms of entertainment. They like high speed. There were so many overtakes. There was so much going on. It's like I couldn't keep my eyes off the screen, and that's a rare thing in F1 where you could just like, oh, I'm not even leaving the room. I need to see what's going on every single lap. I think that race was outstanding, and that's the kind of thing that F1 needs to start doing. Is putting 100%. These random races in there, throwing off all the engineers and all the strategists and so on, where they can't even prepare for it, and just let chaos happen, because that was entertainment, and they need to continue doing that. So yeah. For me, that if I've got the deciding vote, I'm picking Sakir.
Yeah, that's calm. So number 3, we've chosen as Sakir. Again, yeah. So based on the majority of the votes, Turkey was number 2. Mahad, let me come back to you on this. Turkey, that was a great race. It didn't quite make it to number 1, but it can be argued that, you know, it could be number 1. You know, there was a lot of key moments that happened in that race. There was changing tires. We had cars spinning. One guy spinning so many times. I'm talking about Bottas, by the way, not Verstappen. I'm talking about Bottas spinning around multiple times, not Verstappen, yeah?
Listen, Bottas, yeah, he was spinning, no contact, you know.
He's done 5 times in that race.
He was all over the gaff. Turkey, I had it number 1. That was the maddest race. Honestly, this is crazy. And I think the weather took part in that, because it was so wet, to the point where whenever you was watching the camera of the driver, they couldn't say anything. So I'm thinking, how are they even driving? They just water spray all over the face. Start was funny for a certain Max Verstappen who was stalling like he was in a driving test. Don't know what was going on there. Same with Albon as well. They've got a problem with starts, Red Bull. And we'll see if it continues next season. But they get themselves high positions in qualifying and just end up so slow off the line. And that was another one where they were just awful. Like, he lost like 6-7 places immediately, because that's how slow Max was, and he was P2. So Bottas just spinning all over the gaff. It was such an interesting race, because it was developing as the weather was changing. So people were changing into everybody had the wets because it was trucking it down. Then people was changing it over to inters, and then they were changing it over to slicks. There were so many different pit stops and so many different moves of what was going on, just because of the environment of the track and how it was playing out. And there were some parts of the track that was dry and some parts that were wet, and people were making mistakes. There were spins all over the gaff, and I think entertainment-wise, it was outstanding. Lewis just chilling with Vettel for like 25 laps, 26 laps, doing absolutely nothing, just trading places. And to this day, I rewatched that race, I think twice. I don't know how Lewis won that race. I still don't know. I don't know how he even got himself into that type of position. It was more Racing Point fucking up, because they were long gone at the beginning when you first watched that race. Mm-hmm. They were like, when I mean long gone, they were like 10, 15 seconds gone from anybody else. And it developed into a race where Lewis took advantage once again because of the tyre situation.
Yeah.
That race should have been a Stroll P1, P2. A Racing Point P1, P2. Yeah, that should have been a close podium for them. But it is what it is.
Slightly, the Ferraris did well in that race as well.
Yeah, they did.
Just because it was a race that didn't rely on speed. It's just relying on...
But your boy Leclerc, though.
Leclerc,
should we talk about him?
He got a little greedy still. I don't know what was going on there.
He let that pensioner get the podium over him, bro. You gonna allow that?
Listen, Vettel needs that last swan song, man.
Yeah, I think I mean?
But to be fair, that race had a lot from beginning to end. When I look for a good race, I look for if it had a good start, good middle, and good end. It had all of that because there's certain races that only have a good ending or have a good beginning, like a good start. That had everything going on. It kept me engaged. So for me, that was number one. But if we're voting for number two, I'll have it number two.
That's calm. Kwame, let me come to you. Turkey number two.
Yeah, I had a number two again.
Yeah.
And these guys, the qualifier is amazing. Obviously, because it's in a wet, you know, a lot of teams are not going to be not sure what to do. You had Racing Point taking advantage of that. You know, Stroll getting his first pole position there for him, which is a massive achievement. And you had the Mercedes struggling for once in qualifying, which is very rare to see because they're the fastest team on the grid, even in wet weathers. And, you know, Ferrari, like these guys have done a good job because they bottled it as well. McLaren, they didn't make it past Q2. So to get from the midfield to what, third and what, fourth for Vettel and Leclerc was a good job. But yeah, you know, instant again on the first lap, you know, you get Lewis just bombing down the field, passing Seb. You had Albon and Max cooking and hitting Perez. Albon spinning, you know, because of the rain. I think because of the rain, it made it very, very tight because obviously these guys have changed conditions and different part of the circuit, different parts of the track, even the curbs having more water than the racing line, for example. You're not sure what's going to happen. So that made it very interesting. And yeah, it was just good to see, you know, how just experienced drivers in the rain, they just took advantage and just knew what part of the circuit. And also nothing as well, like Hamilton and Vettel have raced in the circuit before back in the day when Turkey used to be on the grid. So they've known the track better than others. I think that played into their hands, and he got his championship after this race.
Yeah, obviously in the aftermath, you know, he collected number 7. So we're all happy on a Discord after that race. Yeah, guys, I think let's just quickly wrap it up on number 2. Are we all happy with putting down Sakira's number 2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Sakira.
Turkey.
I'm looking at my notes and I'm seeing Sakira. I'm seeing Sakira. I'm seeing Turkey. Someone put Austria. I'm not going to say that, but I'm just seeing all these names, and I'm like, oh shit. Turkey number 2. Let's keep it as Turkey number 2.
Lewis won by 30 seconds. I forgot about that.
That was mad. The fact that he was just chilling with Vettel midway through the race, and I was like, come on, man, Lewis. What were you doing, bro? And then next thing he's 30 seconds clear. I think he had like a pit stop in hand. It was just incredible, that race.
Him and Seb thought they were Jay-Z and Jermaine Dupri trying to invest that money in the thing video, swerving and Robbies and whatnot, switching lanes for like 20 laps. I'm thinking, what are these guys doing? I just thought, you know what, the boys in it, let them reminisce, let them do all that shit.
Let them chill.
Yeah, let them chill.
Yeah. All right. So Turkey locked in number 2. Yeah, number 1, you guys voted it. Monza. That was a great race. Discord, guys, that was popping that day. That was such a good race. Ads, your Starboy won. Take it away, bro. Tell us about Monza.
Come on. All right. So, what's funny about this race? I mean, when we were first going into this race, it was looking pretty regular. I think the only kind of narrative that was going into this race was the fact that Ferrari was so bad that they weren't looking like they were going to get a podium at Monza, even though they got the podium last year. But other than that, it was looking like a regular Mercedes race. The race, you know, it was going, and we were just it was a crash. I think that started it off. It was
I think it was Leclerc.
It wasn't.
No, it wasn't Leclerc.
It was Magnussen.
Someone else.
It was Magnussen.
It was Magnussen. He was near the pit lane, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So that brought up the yellow flag.
So he didn't crash, but I think he broke down. So they had to push him into the pit lane, and then so yellow flags came out. I think it was yellow flags that came out. So they were going through, and the issue was that they had closed the pit stop.
Yeah, the pit lane.
The pit lane, sorry. But for whatever reason, Hamilton didn't see that. Obviously, he was at the front of the grid, and Hamilton didn't notice that or see that, and nobody really told him. So he had actually gone into the pit lane, had his pit, and come out, and found out at the end that the pit lane was actually closing. He wasn't supposed to pit, so they had to give him a penalty. So then the I think the race continued. The yellow flag went off, and the race continued, and then Leclerc crashed, and he had a really bad crash to the point where they had to give a red flag. And at that point, Hamilton hadn't served his stop and go. I don't think, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
But I think had he been told that he had to serve it when the race restarted?
yeah.
I think they
before the race started, was told, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think they made the decision to do that. I think Hamilton was like, "Oh, do we really need to?" I think if I race and I get a head start, and then maybe the 10-second can come down. But I think the team just told him, "No, we'll do the stop and go now, and then you do the race."
Yeah.
But what some people hadn't noticed was the fact that there was a few drivers before that had pitted in that yellow flag who actually pitted correctly, which was Gasly, Sainz, and I think was Norris involved? I don't think it was Norris. I think it was another driver.
I think it was Stroll.
No, I was gonna get onto Stroll because the case was that Stroll, he changed tires during the red flag, which was a point of contention at the end, and that's the thing that Norris had a problem with, which is why he didn't pit, and he went into the red flag in P3 and he got a free tire change. So when the race restarted, it was Gasly, it was Lewis, Gasly, Norris, Gasly, Sainz, and Stroll. No, sorry, it was Lewis.
You had the AlphaTauris there as well.
Yeah, it was Lewis, Stroll, Gasly, and Sainz. So what happened with that race? I think at that point the race really, really came alive because what had happened was Stroll started badly, so Gasly overtook him, and so did Sainz. So it was Gasly, Sainz, and Stroll. Lewis had to serve his stop and go. So in the end, the race was genuinely Gasly, Sainz, and Stroll, P1, P2, P3. And then at that point, that was probably where I think everyone was off their seats at that point and just like cheering and screaming, especially me, just wanting so desperately for Gasly to win that race. And he drove probably one of the best drives of his life at that point, with Gasly behind him in a weaker car. With Sainz behind him and him in a weaker car, managing to get that win. Probably one of the best moments in F1 of the recent era, of turbo hybrid era, if you want to say. It's a throwback to those Monza days where I think Vettel got his first win in the Toro Rosso at that time, and to have that and his reaction as well in that race, I think it was unbelievable. And the narrative, going from that guy who was taken off the Red Bull team, going into Toro Rosso at that time, which is AlphaTauri now, getting that podium and then getting a win in this situation. It was an unbelievable race, unbelievable victory, and it had to be P1 for me as a Gasly fanboy.
Fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. I think when he changed, I think his compound of tyre helped him as well, because he switched to hards when he made that pit stop that you mentioned, and that's what allowed him to run to the end. So I think Sainz was chasing him with a fresher compound as well, and he still managed to hold him off. It was amazing. It was amazing, and we were all off our seats. We were just frantically typing away. We were just in awe by the end of the race. I couldn't get over that for like the next week. I was just like, man, that race was fantastic. Richard, any more for you to add on that Monza Grand Prix?
Yeah, just a little bit. Just with qualifying. Obviously, as we know, Monza's the home of Ferrari. It's Ferrari heritage. But obviously that didn't get off to a good start when end up knocked out in Q1.
Mm-hmm.
And also Carlos Sainz and Checo, they finished on the second row, which is, amazing qualifying performance from them. Also, a certain man's star boy, I think Mahad, finished. See, he's looking away now.
He's looking away.
Yeah.
Certain man's star boy ended up qualifying.
Is that you talking to somebody else? Sorry, mate.
What's supposed to be you from? Yeah, and West Bromwich Albion finished 9th, so Red Bull had a bit of a mare qualifying well for that race. Also, as I said, as pretty much summed up, the whole of the race really. K-Mag, breaking down the pit wall, and Lewis coming in when the pit lane was closed and whatnot, and about to save a stop and go penalty. And also you had Carlos Sainz managed to get past Kimi as well. I think I like lap 33 or something. And from then on, it was just them two battling for 20 laps straight. Well, Sainz was on mediums. I think.
Yeah,
or he must have been on hard.
Yeah,
he was on. So he's on fresher compound, faster compound, quicker car, and he could just go and get past Gasly. Gasly managed to have the nerve and the mental strength and the ability to just hold off to superior. Let's say superior driver because I don't think he's better than Gasly, but the superior car at least around a power hungry circuit like Monza for 20 laps. And I thought that was one of the reasons why I put Gasly first in my driver's center, because I thought with stuff like that, especially what he's been through, like in the previous year, he lost his boy, got dropped by Red Bull. No, that can take a lot on people mentally. Definitely. That can take a lot on a driver. If you lost your boy in F2, and also you've been dropped by a top team, then basically saying to you that you're shit, and only get 12 races to prove yourself.
Yeah,
that can be a lot. That can knock your confidence. That can almost ruin your career in some ways. Well, he's managed to get better since then. He's managed to almost shrug it off and be like, become a better driver, going through that. So, yeah, as I said, I was on the Discord as well. I was absolutely made up that Gasly managed to get the win and whatnot. So that's one of the reasons. Also with that podium as well, with Gasly, Sainz, and Stroll, like the odds of that, that's the first time that a Red Bull, Ferrari, or Mercedes has been in the podium for, I think, 8-9 years or something like that.
Since
like that. Yeah, absolutely crazy record. So that was one of the reasons why I am Monza first in my eyes.
Yeah, no, great race. Yeah, guys, look. Any final thoughts on Monza before we go around the room and lock our decisions? Well, we can't lock our decisions in. It is Monza, but any final thoughts on that?
But I'll say my piece as well on it. I'll just give it a quick, these guys are their thing as well. But I just want to say, big up to Williams as well. Sir Frank and Claire Williams, because that was their last race as well. So they saw their team to Doolittle, and that's kind of because of what they did with the team, in the 90s, 80s, dominating World Championships, being the second joint second third best team for being F1 heritage with Ferrari, McLaren, and Desert Williams. And also having a female representative in the sport as well as a principal. And that's the last race, so you got to give to them. But yeah, everything else these guys said as well, because I feel like that might have be something in the racing gods that could have made this race what it was for car. This race was amazing. Honestly, you had Ferraris flopping at their home territory, crashing both not making past Q3. You had Gasly, AlphaTauri winning, still a home win for AlphaTauri, still an Italian team, owned by Red Bull, and you had Sainz chasing him, getting McLaren's best position since back in the very fun days, and Stroll getting up there as well. So it was a brilliant race.
Yeah. No, I think
I forgot to mention as well, Bottas stunk this race. He was terrible.
He thought he was going to get away with it. He got away with it in the last pod as well.
So bad. Oh my! I didn't even mention it when I was talking about the race, but he was so bad.
Yeah.
Like he was a special kind of bad this race.
He started P2, did he? As well.
Yeah.
He started P2 and he got down to P5 by the first race, or P6 by the first lap.
Yeah.
And then in the end, Hamilton was at P7 from ending up bottom of the grid.
Yeah, no, I remember Hamilton finished like 2 places behind him. That was crazy.
Bottas had a season to forget, especially the second half.
He should have been gone by then. Like he should have been gone. If I was Toto Wolff, I'd be like, get out of it, bro. Bring in George. Like you're done.
Yeah, no, I think look, that's totally true. And actually, in our next episode, we're going to be looking at the predictions for 2021. So, guys, you guys better bring your notepad, because I'm going to be bringing out a notepad for the next pod. Yeah, if I hear any wild or spicy takes, I'm noting them down. I'll be wheeling them up this time next year, just to remind you. So yeah, we're going to be looking. Yeah, Mahad, we're looking at you there. It's time for Max to step up.
I answer for my cramps, but guess what? I don't commit cramps. I'm just here with facts, no agenda.
So yeah, what we say, Max Championship winner of the season, yeah.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying Lewis is winning.
Cool. I'm just making sure.
We'll leave that for next week. Viewers,
we'll leave that for next week.
Wrap it.
We'll leave it for next week.
I've got a dossier. Don't worry about it.
So no.
But yeah, guys, that's it from this second episode. I hope you enjoyed it, man. I had good laughs this episode, man. It was pretty good. But yeah, that's it from here at the Pitstop Fracas crew. Please like the Twitter video, not Twitter. Please like the YouTube video. Subscribe. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Follow us on Twitter. We're constantly churning out content for you guys. So yeah, make sure you're there. And we'll be back with you next week. Peace.
Take care.
In a bit.